The ability to control your reactions is one of the most powerful skills you can develop. Every day we encounter situations that test our patience, rude comments, unexpected problems, and people who seem determined to annoy us. In these moments, it's easy to let emotions take over and react impulsively, but reacting without thinking often leads to regret. The secret to never getting angry or bothered is not about avoiding difficult situations, but about mastering the way you respond to them. When something upsets you, your initial reaction is often automatic. It comes from years of habits, emotional patterns, and learned behaviors. If someone insults you, your first instinct might be to argue back or feel hurt. If things don't go your way, frustration naturally arises. However, just because a reaction is automatic doesn't mean it's the right one. There is always a small space between what happens and how you respond. That space is where your power lies. The more you expand that space, the more control you have over your emotions. Instead of reacting immediately, pausing for a moment allows you to choose a response that aligns with the kind of person you want to be. People often think that controlling your reaction means suppressing emotions. Well, that's not true. Suppression means pushing emotions down without dealing with them, which only causes them to build up and explode later. Controlling your reaction means acknowledging your emotions, but choosing how to express them in a way that benefits you. If someone speaks to you harshly, you don't have to match their tone. You don't have to let their negativity become yours. Instead, you can stay calm and respond with logic rather than emotion. This doesn't mean allowing others to walk all over you. It means refusing to let them control your mood. When you react with anger, you give away your power. You let someone else dictate how you feel and act. But when you remain in control, you keep your power and maintain your peace. A great way to train yourself to respond calmly is to practice emotional detachment. Imagine you are an observer of your own life, watching yourself from the outside. When something frustrating happens, instead of immediately reacting, step back mentally and ask yourself, is this worth my energy? Will this matter a day from now, a year from now? Most of the time, you realize that it's not as important as it seems in the moment. This shift in perspective makes it easier to remain composed and let go of unnecessary frustration. Another technique is to change your internal dialogue. The way you talk to yourself in difficult situations shapes your reactions. If someone cuts you off in traffic and you say to yourself, "People are so selfish, this always happens to me," you'll feel irritated. But if you reframe it and think, "Maybe they're in a rush, it's not personal," you instantly feel less stressed. Small changes in how you interpret situations lead to big changes in how you react to them. Breathing techniques also help control reactions. When you feel anger or frustration rising, take a slow, deep breath. Deep breathing sends a signal to your brain that you are safe, reducing the instinct to react emotionally. Counting to 10, focusing on your breath, or even taking a short walk can create the space needed to respond with clarity instead of impulse. The most important thing to remember is that every time you control your reaction, you strengthen your ability to stay calm in future situations. It's like building a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger it gets. Over time, you'll notice that things that used to upset you no longer have the same effect. You will feel more in control of your emotions and less affected by external negativity. Instead of being pulled into arguments, you'll have the ability to walk away with a clear mind. Instead of letting frustration take over, you'll be able to handle situations with wisdom and patience. Life is full of situations that are beyond our control. People will say things we don't like, unexpected problems will arise, and circumstances will not always work in our favor. The natural reaction to such moments is frustration, stress, or even anger. But the truth is that resisting what we cannot change only drains our energy. The sooner we learn to let go of what is out of our hands, the more peace we will experience. This doesn't mean giving up or being passive. It means recognizing where our control ends and choosing to focus on what we can actually influence. Many people spend their lives trying to fight reality, wishing things were different, replaying past mistakes, or worrying about the future. This habit keeps them trapped in unnecessary suffering. When something has already happened, no amount of thinking can undo it. If someone treats you unfairly, no amount of anger can change their actions. If circumstances don't go as planned, no amount of frustration will make things different. In every situation, there are two choices: waste energy fighting what is, or accept it and move forward with a clear mind. Acceptance is not weakness, it is the ultimate strength. It is the ability to see things as they are without being emotionally controlled by them. One of the biggest challenges in letting go is dealing with other people's actions. We often expect others to behave in a certain way, to be kind, fair, or understanding. But expectations are dangerous because they set us up for disappointment. People are unpredictable, and trying to control their behavior is like trying to control the wind. The only thing within our control is how we respond to them. If someone insults you, you can choose to take offense, or you can recognize that their words reflect their own state of mind, not your worth. If someone doesn't appreciate your efforts, you can either dwell on it or remind yourself that your value isn't determined by others. Shifting your focus from what you cannot change to what you can, your thoughts, actions, and attitude, frees you from unnecessary frustration. Another area where letting go is essential is dealing with the past. Many people carry the weight of past mistakes, painful experiences, or regrets. They replay old conversations wishing they had responded differently, or hold on to resentment for things that were done to them. But no matter how much time is spent dwelling on the past, it cannot be changed. What can be changed is how we view it. Every mistake holds a lesson, every setback offers growth, and every painful moment shapes strength. Holding on to the past only steals the present moment, while letting go creates space for new possibilities. The same applies to worrying about the future. While it's natural to plan and prepare, excessive worry serves no purpose. Most of the things we fear never actually happen, and the ones that do often turn out to be less difficult than we imagined. The best way to deal with uncertainty is to focus on what can be done right now instead of stressing about things that are out of reach. Learning to let go of the need for constant control allows life to flow more smoothly. It brings a sense of ease and trust that no matter what happens, you have the ability to handle it. A useful way to practice letting go is through mindfulness. Paying attention to the present moment without judgment helps break the cycle of overthinking. Instead of getting lost in what-if scenarios, mindfulness keeps the focus on what is real and happening now. Taking deep breaths, observing thoughts without attaching to them, and reminding yourself that you are not your emotions all help in developing this habit. Letting go is a skill that requires practice, but the more it is done, the lighter life becomes. The energy once wasted on frustration, regret, and worry can be used for things that truly matter. The ability to release what cannot be changed brings a deep sense of freedom, allowing peace to replace resistance. The way we see the world shapes how we experience it. Every situation, every interaction, and every challenge is filtered through the lens of our perspective. Two people can go through the same event, but have completely different reactions based on how they interpret it. One person might see a setback as a failure, while another sees it as an opportunity to grow. One might take criticism as an attack, while another takes it as feedback for improvement. The key to never getting angry or bothered by anyone lies in learning to shift our perspective and see things in a way that empowers rather than upsets us. When someone says something hurtful, the immediate reaction is often anger or sadness. But what if, instead of assuming they are trying to harm us, we considered the possibility that they are dealing with their own struggles? Most people's actions are driven by their own emotions, insecurities, and past experiences. A rude comment might come from someone who is unhappy in their own life. A harsh judgment might come from someone who feels the need to bring others down, to feel better about themselves. Understanding this helps separate their words from our emotions. Instead of reacting with frustration, we can respond with patience, or simply choose not to take their negativity personally. Another important shift in perspective is recognizing that challenges and difficulties are not obstacles, but opportunities for growth. Often, when things don't go our way, we get frustrated, thinking life is unfair. But every difficulty carries a lesson. A failed plan teaches resilience. A disagreement teaches communication. A tough situation builds inner strength. Instead of seeing hardships as something negative, shifting the perspective to view them as necessary steps for progress makes it easier to handle them with calmness. Life is not happening to us, it is happening for us. Everything that happens, whether good or bad, is shaping us into the person we are meant to be. The same principle applies to how we interpret people's opinions. It's easy to get offended when someone criticizes us, but what if we saw criticism as a chance to learn rather than an attack? Not all feedback is meant to hurt. Some of it can be valuable for growth. Even if the criticism is unfair, it is still a reflection of the other person's perspective rather than an absolute truth. No one can define our worth except ourselves. When we stop giving unnecessary importance to other people's judgments, their words lose the power to bother us. Another way to shift perspective is to practice gratitude. Often people focus on what is wrong, what is missing, or what could be better. This creates frustration and dissatisfaction. But if the focus shifts to what is already good, the entire experience of life changes. Even in difficult moments, there is always something to appreciate. Whether it's the lessons learned, the strength gained, or the simple things that are often taken for granted. Gratitude changes how situations are viewed and makes it easier to let go of negative emotions. A useful technique for changing perspective is to ask different questions. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What can I learn from this?" Instead of asking, "Why are people so difficult?" ask, "What can I do to remain unaffected by others?" The questions we ask ourselves direct our thoughts and emotions. By choosing better questions, we create better interpretations of situations, which leads to a more peaceful and unbothered state of mind. Practicing this consistently makes it easier to stay calm in situations that would normally cause stress. Over time, things that once seemed frustrating start to feel insignificant. Instead of being controlled by circumstances, there is a greater sense of freedom. The world doesn't change, but how it is seen does, and that makes all the difference. One of the biggest reasons people get upset, angry, or bothered is because they take things personally. When someone criticizes, ignores, or mistreats them, they immediately assume it is about them. But the truth is, most of what people do or say is not a reflection of you. It is a reflection of them. Their words, actions, and attitudes come from their own experiences, struggles, insecurities, and emotions. Understanding this simple truth can free you from unnecessary emotional pain and allow you to remain calm and unbothered in situations that would normally trigger a reaction. Imagine someone speaking to you rudely. The instinctive reaction might be to feel disrespected, offended, or even angry. But what if, instead of assuming they are personally attacking you, you consider that they might be having a bad day? Maybe they are dealing with stress, frustration, or personal struggles that have nothing to do with you. Maybe their rudeness is a habit they have developed over time. When you shift your perspective in this way, their words lose the power to hurt you because you no longer see them as a personal attack. You realize that their negativity is their burden to carry, not yours. Another common situation where people take things personally is when they face criticism. When someone points out a flaw or makes a negative comment, it is easy to feel hurt or defensive. But not all criticism is meant to harm. Some criticism is constructive and can help you grow, while other criticism is simply a reflection of the other person's opinions and biases. If you take every comment to heart, you give others control over your emotions. Instead, consider whether the criticism is useful. If it is, use it to improve. If it is not, let it go, without letting it affect your self-worth. No one else has the power to define you, unless you allow them to. Rejection is another area where people take things too personally. Whether it's being turned down for an opportunity, a friendship, or any other situation, rejection often feels like a statement about our value. But rejection is not always about you. Sometimes it's about timing, circumstances, or the other person's preferences. Not everyone will see your worth, and that's okay. Just because someone doesn't choose you doesn't mean you are not worthy. Learning to separate yourself from external validation allows you to remain confident and unaffected by the opinions of others. A powerful way to stop taking things personally is to build emotional detachment. This doesn't mean becoming cold or uncaring. It means recognizing that other people's actions do not define your happiness or self-worth. When you stop seeking approval from others, their opinions stop holding power over you. Instead of reacting emotionally, you become an observer of the situation. You can listen to what is being said without feeling the need to defend yourself or absorb negativity. The more you practice this mindset, the more peaceful and in control you become. Another helpful strategy is to remind yourself that people's opinions are based on their own experiences, beliefs, and perspectives. What one person dislikes, another might love. What one person criticizes, another might admire. This proves that opinions are not absolute truths. They are simply viewpoints. When you realize this, it becomes easier to let go of the need to please everyone or take every comment to heart. You start to live with a sense of freedom, knowing that you do not need external validation to feel good about yourself. Letting go of personal attachment to others' words and actions creates emotional resilience. Instead of feeling hurt by small things, you learn to brush them off and focus on what truly matters. You no longer waste time worrying about what others think or feeling affected by their moods. Over time, this mindset becomes natural and life feels lighter. You realize that your peace is more important than temporary emotions, and you refuse to let anything disturb it. Energy is one of the most valuable resources a person has. Every thought, every reaction, and every emotion either consumes or conserves energy. Many people go through life exhausted, not because of physical work, but because they waste energy on things that don't truly matter. Arguments, overthinking, holding grudges, worrying about others' opinions, and reacting to every small inconvenience drain mental and emotional energy. Learning to save energy means choosing where to focus attention, deciding which battles are worth fighting, and letting go of anything that does not contribute to peace and well-being. One of the biggest ways people waste energy is by reacting to negativity. Not every comment needs a response, and not every situation deserves an emotional reaction. When someone is rude or disrespectful, engaging with them only gives them more power over emotions. Instead of trying to prove a point or change their mind, it is often better to walk away. Choosing not to engage in unnecessary conflict does not mean weakness, it means wisdom. Protecting energy means understanding that some things are simply not worth the time or effort. Another common way energy is drained is through overthinking, replaying conversations, imagining worst-case scenarios, and worrying about things that may never happen, create unnecessary stress. The mind can be a powerful tool or a source of exhaustion depending on how it is used. Instead of overanalyzing everything, shifting focus to solutions and actions conserves energy. Letting go of thoughts that do not lead to positive outcomes allows the mind to stay clear and calm. The more attention is given to pointless worries, the less energy remains for meaningful goals and experiences. Holding on to past hurts and grudges also consumes a significant amount of energy. Anger and resentment require mental space and emotional involvement. Carrying the weight of negative experiences only makes it harder to move forward. Forgiveness is not about excusing bad behavior. It is about releasing the hold that past events have over the present. When forgiveness is practiced, energy that was once spent on resentment becomes available for more important things, such as personal growth, relationships, and happiness. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means choosing peace over prolonged suffering. Another way to save energy is by setting boundaries. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to time and emotions. Some people drain energy with negativity, constant complaints, or unreasonable demands. Learning to say no to situations that do not align with well-being prevents unnecessary stress. Boundaries are not about shutting people out. They are about prioritizing what truly matters. Protecting personal space and mental clarity allows energy to be used in ways that bring fulfillment instead of exhaustion. Focusing on what can be controlled rather than what cannot also conserves energy. Many people waste time worrying about things beyond their influence, what others think, how they behave, or what the future holds. Instead of stressing over uncertainties, directing attention to personal actions and choices creates a sense of empowerment. Energy is better spent on improving oneself rather than trying to change things that are out of reach. As I write this book, shifting from a mindset of control to a mindset of adaptability makes it easier to handle life's unpredictability with ease. A simple but effective way to maintain energy levels is to engage in activities that recharge the mind and body. Spending time in nature, practicing mindfulness, engaging in hobbies, and surrounding oneself with positive influences all contribute to energy renewal. Avoiding unnecessary drama, limiting exposure to negativity, and practicing self-care create a strong foundation for long-term energy conservation. Every moment spent on meaningless conflicts or draining thoughts is a moment lost from something more meaningful. By consciously choosing where energy goes, life becomes more peaceful, focused, and fulfilling. Inner peace is one of the most valuable things a person can have. It is the ability to remain calm, balanced, and unbothered, no matter what is happening around you. Many people spend their lives chasing happiness through external things, success, approval, material possessions, only to realize that true contentment comes from within. When inner peace is prioritized, nothing and no one can disturb emotional stability. People may say or do things, circumstances may change unexpectedly, but a peaceful mind remains unaffected. Choosing inner peace means deciding not to let outside forces control thoughts, emotions, or reactions. One of the biggest reasons people lose their peace is because they get too attached to things they cannot control, whether it is people's opinions, past mistakes, or future uncertainties. Allowing external situations to dictate emotions creates unnecessary stress. The more control is given to outside factors, the harder it becomes to stay centered. Letting go of attachment to things that are beyond personal influence is one of the most effective ways to maintain inner peace. Life will always be unpredictable, but a calm mind can handle any situation with clarity and strength. Another important part of prioritizing inner peace is setting boundaries. Some people bring negativity, drama, or unnecessary conflict into life. Allowing these influences too much space leads to constant frustration and emotional exhaustion. It is not selfish to distance yourself from things that disturb your peace. It is necessary. Whether it is avoiding toxic relationships, limiting time on social media, or saying no to things that cause stress, protecting mental and emotional well-being should always come first. Peace is not something that happens by accident. It is something that must be actively maintained by choosing what to engage with and what to walk away from. Practicing mindfulness is another way to cultivate inner peace. Many people live in either the past, regretting what has already happened, or in the future, worrying about what might happen. Both take away the ability to enjoy the present moment. Mindfulness means fully experiencing what is happening right now without judgment or overthinking. Paying attention to the present, whether it is through deep breathing, meditation, or simply observing thoughts without reacting, helps calm the mind and reduce unnecessary stress. The more mindfulness is practiced, the easier it becomes to remain at peace in any situation. Letting go of the need to always be right also contributes to inner peace. Many arguments and conflicts arise because people feel the need to prove themselves or change others' opinions, but not every disagreement needs a response, and not every battle is worth fighting. Prioritizing peace means valuing emotional well-being over temporary victories. Sometimes, walking away from negativity is more powerful than winning an argument. Choosing peace over proving a point leads to greater self-control and emotional freedom. Taking care of physical health also plays a role in inner peace. A tired body leads to a restless mind, making it harder to stay calm in stressful situations. Simple habits like getting enough sleep, eating well, staying active, and practicing relaxation techniques help keep both body and mind in balance. When physical health is neglected, even small inconveniences can feel overwhelming. Prioritizing well-being in all areas, mental, emotional, and physical, creates a strong foundation for lasting peace. At the core of inner peace is the ability to accept life as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. Struggles, changes, and challenges are all part of the journey. The more they are resisted, the more suffering is created. But when life is embraced with an attitude of acceptance and adaptability, peace becomes natural. Instead of reacting to every small problem, energy is saved for what truly matters. By making inner peace the top priority, life becomes simpler, calmer, and more fulfilling.